Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Saber Broadcast Network. Today, we are reacting to the 2026 College Football Playoff National Championship game. And I gotta tell you, this was the best national championship game that I can remember happening in a long time. Um, this was a really fun game. And it didn't look like it was going to be that way at the very beginning of the ball game because the first half of the game was dominated by Indiana. You know, their defense played well, offense. I felt like they probably should have been up a little bit more than just 10-0, but you got to give them credit. They did it. They played a great game. Um, the first half was a great start. Then Miami started coming back in that second half, and they really made it a ball game. And so this was a really interesting ball game late in the fourth quarter, where it came down to a stop that Indiana had to get to win the championship, 27-21, the best championship game we've seen in quite a few years. Um, and really, I mean, it just has to go back to, I think, to the 2018 championship game 8 years ago when Alabama beat Georgia. I feel like that was the last time we had like a really competitive championship. So, been a while. Now, I will say this. Indiana did not play perfect in this game. Neither did Miami. And that's what made this game interesting because both sides didn't play perfect at all. There was no perfection in what you saw. But some of the plays that were made, and here, this is a defining moment a lot of times in national championships. The team that does not make the critical errors like Miami did. Miami missed the field goal. They had a blocked punt that resulted in a touchdown for Indiana. And then you had the interception to seal the game for Indiana. 3 critical errors. Indiana didn't make those errors at all. No turnovers, no mistakes on missed field goals. That's the turning point in the game. That and the fact that Indiana had the ball like 10 plus more minutes than Miami did in this game. That is a lot to have to do with what happened in this ball game last night. And so, when you go back and look at this, Indiana, for the most part, this was a game that was close, but Indiana at the end made the plays that needed to be made to win a championship. That's just the bottom line here. If we go and look at some stats, because I know a lot of people like to look at the stats, let's start with Indiana because they're the winning team. We should look at them. Fernando Mendoza, and I mean he didn't even have like a special game. I mean not particular special game. 16 of 27, 186. He had a rushing touchdown himself, that was probably one of the highlights of his season. But you look at the run game for Indiana, Kalon Black 17 for 79, Roman Hemby 19 for 60, Riley Nowakowski 1 for 1, which was a touchdown. Fernando Mendoza had 7 carries for -8 yards and a touchdown because he got sacked like a couple times. Receiving wise, Omar Cooper Jr. 5 for 71, Charlie Becker 4 for 65, Elijah Surratt 3 for 28, Riley Nowakowski 2 for 17, Roman Hemby 2 for 5. If you look at Indiana, none of what on the stat sheet looks flashy. Nothing at all. But it was the resiliency to stay in the ball game and not get too down because you were up. I mean, you were up all this game. You didn't have a moment where Miami led in this ball game. And that's because your defense made plays that needed to be made at in the end. Miami, Carson Beck, he went 19 to 32, 232, one touchdown, one interception. Mark Fletcher, 17 for 112 and two touchdowns. Jamar Brown, 3 for 5, and then Carson Beck was sacked for 7 yards. Receiving wise, Malachi Toney, 10 for 122 and a touchdown. C.J. Daniels, 4 for 62. Alex Bowman, 1 for 22. Jamar Brown, 1 for 11. Mark Fletcher, 1 for 8. Kalen Marion, 1 for 6. Joshua Moore, 1 for 1. And here's another big factor into this, too. Miami's receivers dropped a lot of balls in this game. They legitimately dropped a lot of footballs in this game that could have really changed the outcome of this ball game. And so it's moments like that where Indiana didn't really make the mistakes that Miami did. So it was a really interesting ball game last night, one that I think a lot of people are really going to look back and congratulate Indiana. But this was their season. The turnaround that Kirk Cignetti has made there in Indiana is remarkable. One that I don't know if we're going to. I'm going to say that I don't know if we're going to see this again, but we may see it again with another school. So it's remarkable what Indiana has done this season, and to get a national championship, third straight championship for the Big Ten. So I guess now starts the conversation about, is the Big Ten the premier conference in college football? That's the question that has become in college football. So, a lot of interesting stuff coming out of that game last night. But this is my reaction to it, and that is that Indiana, they made the plays. Miami made the mistakes. And the championship went about the way that you would think it would. 27-21. Indiana is your national champion.